Hi, Coach. So Northeast Ohio is actually a hockey hotbed. It's thriving, and were a part of that growing up. And now you are the first ever person to coach behind the NHL bench from Northeast Ohio. What does it mean to you to have that to be a part of that legacy?
Well, I did not know that. Hockey wasn't as prevalent as it is there now, and it wasn't as much of a hockey hotbed as it is now. So you started to see players come out of that area a little bit in the late '90s. Guys like the Holzingers, Mike Rupp, Fritchies, trying to think other people. There weren't a ton, and I'm proud of where I come from. In Northeast Ohio, Shaker Heights is a great town, a great community. I'm proud of that. The fact that I was able to accomplish a few things in hockey is great. It's a unique fact, but take claim to that little feather cap. But yeah, I wasn't aware of that.
And when you were younger, did you foresee yourself taking this path at all, where you would end up maybe one day coaching in the NHL? Was coaching even on your radar as a younger kid?
No, as a kid, I grew up as just a normal one of four boys. We played all kinds of different sports, played hockey, played baseball, played tennis. In the summer, we were just kids, rode around on bikes, caused a little trouble, and kept my parents on their toes. And hockey was just kind of something fun that we did. It was a game that we loved to play. And then it led to some opportunities in college. And that was a main goal of mine. It was to play college hockey. And then from that point, things just kind of opened up as a player. And then 99% of life is time and place. And I've been at the right time and right places sometimes, and have had some heck of opportunities afforded to me.
Yeah, now just one last one for me.
Sure.
What was going through your mind when you got that call up?
A lot, because there's a lot going on. There's a lot of moving pieces, but a little bit of everything, a little anxiety, a little panic, a little excitement. But I knew going up, I knew it wouldn't be very long term, and knowing the people up in Detroit, how prepared that Jeff Blashill is and his staff and what great people they are, that it was going to be a fun experience, regardless. So those guys were fantastic, welcoming me and Todd up, and it was a good experience.
Hi. So you're used to getting calls and saying, this player is coming up. What was it like for yourself to be summoned? What was that experience like?
Well, different, because you're not expecting it. That's not your goal here. I mean, your goal is to always make it to the highest level, but as a coach, you're really worried about your group and how you're improving your group on a daily basis. So when you get that call, it's not expected. But again, it's one that, you get a little excited, and it's kind of cool at the end of the day. Not a lot of guys can say they've sat behind an NHL bench, and for me, that was whether it's one game or turns into 1,000 games over the course of my life. It was a great experience, and to do it for Detroit was pretty cool.
Was that Friday you were told?
Or you know what, Eileen, all the days are kind of blending together. Okay. I don't know. I think maybe it was Thursday, or maybe it was Friday. I really don't know.
And what was it like just trying to prepare? Because I think Filip Zadina was a late addition to protocol, right? Just coming up with a game plan when the lineup was in such flux, probably until the puck dropped.
Yeah, well, again, Jeff Blashill is two of his biggest qualities. His biggest strengths are his communication skills and his preparation. And he was prepared. He was there, through Zoom. He was there through phone calls throughout the day. Doug Huda was in charge of the meetings, and he's been around that team for a much longer time. So just to be a part of it was great, but there was a lot of communication preparation that went into it. And then just when you think, you talk to Blash about line matchup, stuff like that he's looking for, and then you got everything trying to take a breath, and then Z comes in, and he was no longer able to go. So we moved Osterley up to the wing, and I thought he did a good job of filling in and giving meaningful minutes. And it was a little bit of fly by the seat of our pants, but things happen during a game too that you have to kind of just adjust to, and you kind of just roll with the punches. Nothing is so fluid that's set in stone, and this is how you do it. You have to make decisions, and Jeff had his his game plan. We tried our best to implement what he was looking for. And at the end of the day, a lot of the success that night was because of the preparation that went on behind the scenes by Jeff and his staff, even though they weren't able to be there.
Did Steve give you any advice or anything?
Yeah, don't mess it up. No, he was great. He was great. He was, it is what it is. We're missing a lot of players, a lot of coaches. Go out there, have fun, and do this to the best of your ability.
Just one last thing. I mean, you've seen a lot of Joe over the years. What did you think of him? What have you thought of him here? He's played in a few NHL games now this season. You know, how he's doing.
Again, I've seen Joe in Grand Rapids. I've seen Joe on the TV when I'm down here and he's up in the NHL. And I saw him for again, a snapshot live last game against New Jersey. And he's doing a lot of good things. It's just a matter of doing it more consistently and making sure that he's as competitive as he can be on a daily basis, and making sure that every shift he's competitive. He's working, he's getting to the hard areas, both offensively and defensively. So it's going to take time with a younger player like that, but he certainly is making strides from where he was a year ago to where he is today.
Did you get a puck or anything from Saturday's game? Any little?
Yeah, Larks was great. Dylan Larkin was fantastic, and there's a reason why he's wearing that letter on his jersey. He was very complimentary of Hoods, myself, and Todd. So they gave us each a puck, which is great, and it was fun to be a part of. Thank you so much.
Now, Ben, once the game starts, is it pretty much just like every other game then once you get into it?
Pretty much. There's a little bit more concern, though, I think, at the NHL level. When you're at the American League level, you're not so much concerned. You're concerned somewhat with line matches and stuff like that. You don't have a guy like Jack Hughes on another team. So from an American League point of view, sometimes you want, it's a developmental league. You want your younger guys that maybe aren't the greatest defenders to have some experiences. Maybe it's a big D zone face-off that these kids got to learn to be in those situations. The NHL is a win now league, so there's no time to really have any hiccups because they usually end up in the back of your net. So there's a little bit of an adjustment there to really try and find the best matchups possible. Obviously, being at home, it was a little bit easier. Having Hoods on the bench was great. Kriegs on the bench was great because just the communication throughout the game from coach to coach and trying to get some kind of flow. And at the end of the day, the players went out there and they did the job.
I'm still a little unclear. So did you guys communicate with Blash like during the game somehow too, or not? I mean, just in between periods, or how did all that go?
Yeah, we talked in between periods, talked before the game, talked after the game. Again, Jeff is ultra prepared, ultra detailed. He made it very easy to go in there and help contribute.
Did you give the boys like a pregame, speech or whatever you want to call it?
A big Rudy speech. No. Yeah. It was, at the end of the day, Doug Huda he's been there a lot longer than I have. He's got the relationship with the players. So the meetings with that, I think would resonate a little bit deeper with Doug delivering those messages. And he did a fantastic job. I thought the first period we weren't great. I think we were outshot 10-2 in the first little bit of the first period. We didn't manage the puck very well. And, Doug came in, he was great. And he doesn't really have the opportunity to address the team like a head coach. So he kind of gave it to him and said, you guys got to be way better. But the guys, I think they respect the hell out of Doug Huda, and rightfully so. He's a fantastic human being, great coach. And I think that Doug did a great job.
Everything I've seen, I mean, this goes on your coaching record, I think. I mean, look, it's got to mean something. 1-0. I mean, how many guys get a chance or ever get a chance to coach in the NHL,
Yeah, well, again, like I said, if it never turns out to anything again, it was a great opportunity, and one that's, they're kind of moments in your career that you take a step back and you're kind of way more appreciative. You take things for granted. And I think this is just one of those that, the anthem's going, you're standing in front of a great building. The energy in that building was fantastic, and you kind of take a moment there, and this is pretty cool.
That's a pretty good point. I mean, did you soak it in, or did you try to soak it in as much as you could there, whenever there was a chance to?
Absolutely. Yeah. You don't take it for granted when you're there. It's going to be short-lived. Obviously, Jeff will be back very soon, but like I said, I was treated like a king for a few days, and it was just a great experience. The people that run the ship behind, with all the from driving to the hotel, to the arena people, to the chefs, to the ushers, it was awesome. A class organization.
Okay, last one, just the progress on Johnny Berggren here this season. What have you seen?
Bergie's coming along. He's the biggest thing for me with Jonathan is that you're seeing growth and you're seeing improvement from day one when he came down here. And we knew going in that there was going to be an acclimation period, just because it's a different country, it's a different size sheet, it's a different city, it's a different language, it's different coaches. He's going through a lot of firsts. He's getting acclimated. He's got his feet really kind of under him now. From a hockey point of view, he's way more competitive on a consistent basis. He's going north with pucks. He's learning to manage the puck better, making plays quicker, making plays more consistently. So that's extremely encouraging. And for a young player, if you keep doing that and you keep going, you just got to make sure you're ready for the call if and when it does come.
Coach, good to see you. Congratulations on the victory. I know you said you weren't sure what date that you got when you got the call, but do you remember where you were and what you were doing when you got that call?
Yeah, well, Steve just called and said that we're at the rink, and said that there were a couple more cases of COVID. They were calling up 2 players and 2 coaches. So
now your game had been postponed. Would this have happened if your games had not been postponed?
I would assume yes.
You would, okay.
Yeah.
And if Doug was already there, what was the thought process behind making? Because if he was there, why not just make you an assistant? Or what was the thought process into the automatic elevation? Did they explain that to you?
Well, for me, it's pretty simple. You had Jeff Blashill, who it's really managing the bench during the game and all the preparation stuff, pre-scouting, tweaks in between periods. Now, Jeff could still kind of do that during the game, watching it from home. But if you look at it, Doug runs the defense, so he's way more comfortable running the defense, and he's going to stay there. That's what he does. Alex Tanguay, who was sick, he's out with COVID, sorry, runs the power play. That's what Todd Krieger, and works the forwards. That's what Todd Krieger does in Grand Rapids. I run the forwards and the bench management with regard to that in Grand Rapids. So it just made sense. It's like when you get a player called up, if you lose a shutdown defenseman, you're probably not going to call up a skilled offensive guy. So you kind of parts for parts, and I think it was smart to do it that way, just because it led to a little bit more seamless transition.
Makes sense. And again, if this is an inappropriate question, I apologize. I know they're going through obviously COVID situation right now. Your team had practice today. You were not at practice. Are you cleared to go back to practice, or are you being told to not go to practice yet? Am I making stuff up at this point?
No, I think you're reading way too much into it. I'm completely healthy. I was negative. It was just a precaution being around that group to get one more PCR test before we go back in and see how it is from there.
So you were held out today?
Held out? No, I chose not to go because I wanted to get another negative PCR test, which I was today, before just a little bit more certainty, because with all the number of tests up there, testing positive, it didn't make any sense to just race down there for a practice.
Gotcha. Understood. Thank you very much.
Ben, when you think back 20 years ago, your first call up to Atlanta as a player, how'd that compare to getting a call as a coach?
Different. I mean, there's still that same level of excitement, but I think as a player, I don't want to say you're expecting it more, but that's more of an end goal within your short-term, long-term growth. Now, long-term, do I want to coach in the NHL? For sure, but you usually don't get that opportunity in the middle of the season. As a player, you feel like if you do the job the right way, and you do things the right way, and you do it consistently, that if that opportunity is there, you will get that opportunity afforded to you. So you're kind of thinking that more as a player. As a coach, you don't really think that. So it's a little bit of more of a surprise, more of a shock the other day as opposed to a player. But both were pretty cool. Both kind of, like I said before, they're kind of little moments, little milestones that you'll look back on and remember. So it was yeah, just a different kind of reaction, I guess.
And I haven't been down here all these years. Was it what you expected? You don't really know until you do it.
Yeah, I mean, it is. It's the National Hockey League. It's the best league in the world. From the day you walk in, I mean, it's from the resources to the arenas to the hotels you stay in, to how you're treated, to the food at the arena. It's top notch. So it's definitely something that you remember. It's definitely something that you don't take for granted while you're there. And I think that's important to, even as a coach, to learn, because as a player you can lose sight of that at times, and just and especially now with these games getting canceled, things getting shut down, don't lose the short-sightedness of having the ability to play the game. We lost two games meaning we're able to play 2 games against Toronto. That's 2 less chances to go out and prove yourself and showcase what you can do and develop, and having that appreciation for the ability. The best part of the day, the best part of the game is playing it.
And just last thing for me, when you're standing on the bench and you see a number of the players that you coached in Grand Rapids, does it kind of validate the work you and your staff have been doing there all these years?
We're proud of it, for sure. I mean, you look down and that was one of the things that made it somewhat easy to come up there. Just the quality of character of the players on that team, with some of the free agents they brought in, quality people, quality players. But then the guys that I've got familiarity with because they've come through Grand Rapids, the number of guys there was fantastic. And we've, we're proud of the fact. And some guys have taken a little bit longer. Some guys haven't been in Grand Rapids as long. And some guys that were in Grand Rapids didn't make it to Detroit. But you're standing there, you're looking down the bench, and there were quite a few guys that, it was a little bit more special for me to be able to share that, because, kind of you go through the grind down here in Grand Rapids, and you get to experience that, even if just for a game, the thrill of making that jump for a day. And it was fun. But yeah, those guys were definitely fantastic to both me and Todd. And like I said, Doug made it very, very easy to be around.